Alright, so you have bought yourself a brand new bait casting reel. You've never done it before, and now you need to figure out how to spool it. Today I'm going to show you exactly how to go about doing that. So what we have today is that we have this RUNCL reel. It's the RUNCL Heroism. I have it paired up with the Ugly Stick Elite. It's a graphite casting rod, and it's going to pair up really nicely with this reel. So we're going to be spooling this reel today, and I'm going to show you what I believe is the best way and the most secure way to add braid to this spool and to not have it slip on you in the long run. All right, everyone, we are spooling the RUNCL Heroism today. One of the ways to best approach this is to actually take off your side plate on your bait casting reel if it does come off. Some do not come off, but the ones that do, you're going to want to take it off. And you're going to pull your spool out of the reel like this. It's easier to take the spool out if you can. It's easier to work with, especially if you've got bigger hands and trying to get inside the inside of this, or feed your line through the wormhole and also trying to feed it through here and spin it. It's just a lot easier to work with if you have the spool out of the reel. So first things first, we're going to feed the line through this little wormhole here, because if you don't do that part, then you kind of miss the whole ball on it, and you don't want to do that. So feed it through the worm feeder, the wormhole, and pull it out the side like so. So this way you can just feed the spool back in when it's time. So we're going to be working with the spool directly here. And we're going to tie basically what is going to be an arbor knot. It's an overhand knot. So you're just going to do an overhand knot. And this is very simplest of knots. Really, anybody can make this happen. Do it twice and it makes it a little bit thicker. So when you have that overhand knot like that, you're just going to kind of tighten it up to make your first initial knot there. That's going to basically be the knot that holds the line together on the spool initially. So our next step is to make an overhand knot around this main line. So we're going to basically come through the loop and around and create that overhand knot. So essentially what we have is we have our overhand knot up here, the initial one that we made, and then we have our second one that we're going to cinch down here. And this is basically going to be, this one here is a stopper for this one. So what we can do now is we can take this line, and we're going to just wrap it around. Trying to unravel that so it's not so looped up. So what we'll do is we'll take this and we'll put it around our spool. And we're just going to cinch it down. We're going to pull it and keep moving up and down, making sure that we're in the center. We want it to be centered on our spool the whole time. And we're just going to cinch that down until it's nice and tight. And you see that this knot that we made, that first overhand knot, is coming closer and closer. And now it's actually taut onto that spool right there. So that's step one. You're not just going to start spooling and reeling at this point because it spins, right? It goes with the spool. It's not locked on there and it's not going to hold. Now, a lot of people just take a piece of tape and they'll put a piece of tape on here and hold it there. But as anyone knows, that over time, that tape will end up losing its adhesive and it's going to end up slipping anyways in the long run. So what we want to do is we want to just trim this down a little bit. Get that cut down so it's just a smaller tag end. And what you can also do is you can actually fray this braid a little bit with just crimps or something like that. You're just kind of taking that outer coating off of it a little bit so that it gets rougher. And that'll come into play as we go through the next steps, and it'll help to kind of cinch down on that. So this is a little trick, little hint that I had learned from Chad Hoover. So shout out to him, props to him for this next tip. So essentially what we're going to do now to make this even tighter is we're going to do half hitches. We're basically going to do half hitch knots around the spool on either side. So you're going to half hitch on this side and pull it to center. And then we're going to also half hitch on the opposite side. So you're going to half hitch it on this side as well. And you're going to cinch that down and bring it to center. Again, everything coming back to center. Now as you see, this is definitely, it's a little bit tighter, but it still moves. So what we're going to do is we're going to do another set of half hitches on either side. And we're going to cinch that down. So again, that half hitch, cinching it down here, pushing it to center, and tightening that up. You can already see that it's much better and it's holding much better on that side. And again, we're just going to do one more on this opposite side. And cinching down. And now we're just going to keep pulling on this and tighten it up so that it holds. And now we've got a much better, much more secure hold on that spool than we would with just a simple arbor knot. So next step is we're going to pull our line through so that we can get the spool back in, insert it into place, and then we're going to put our side plate back on, and we're going to lock that down. And now we've got our knot nice and centered, tight, and ready to go. So at this point you could have this connected to a rod and to help you kind of spool it. But what you can do is just kind of hold the front of this a little bit more, just firmly, so that it doesn't go on unevenly, right? And plus, the way that it's in the box, when it reaches the box, it's going to add extra tension to it as well. You can get creative on how you have your spool attached and where you keep it. But the way that I'm doing it today is literally I'm keeping the spool in the box with the line coming over the top of the spool. And I have it rigged up literally between a laptop and a monitor on my desk that's going to be in front of where I'm spooling this. So again, you can do it however you want, but this is how I have it. So this is what I've got. I've got my 20-pound Power Pro. It's in the box and it's coming out of the top of the box. The spool is coming this way because you want it coming off the top of the spool vertically when you're doing a Baitcaster. So that's how we have it coming off right now. I literally have a pen going through the middle of the box and it's secured on either side of this. You can do this with other boxes. You can have somebody hold it if you want to. But if you're doing this on your own, this is a good way to cause that resistance that you need to keep it taut and also to keep it in place. So just a little tip there on how you can prop up and have it set up so that you can do it on your own. And at that point, you're basically just reeling and filling up your spool and making sure that it's taut while you do this, because you don't want it to be loose. And you want it to have that even spread, that even coverage. And like, you don't want too much tension, because then you're going to dig in to your spool and you're going to kind of bury those lines into each other, and you don't want that to happen either. So I don't want to bore you with the whole process here, and we'll come back to it when we have it filled up and we'll show you the end result. All right, we're all spooled up and ready to go. We've got our Power Pro high res 20-pound braided line on this reel. And one thing to note is that you want to look and take a look at this spool. You don't want to fill it up over the top. You're going to cause a lot of problems and have issues with casting if you do that. You want to leave about 1/8 inch, 16 inch of space between the edge of the spool and the line that you have on it. You want to give yourself ample room to not have any issues going forward with casting, and also just to be able to work the spool with your thumb appropriately. And that is it. You're ready to attach this onto a rod, get out there and start casting. Guys, links will be in the description for affiliate links for this reel, for this rod if I find it, and also if I get any discount codes from RUNCL, they will also be in there for you to use. Just appreciate all the support that I'm getting from subscribers. If you haven't already, like these videos, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to get further notifications of when I upload new videos. Thanks for watching, tight lines, and be blessed.